What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for our AEW on TBS review for February the 16th, 2022. Tonight's main event was a TNT Championship match between Sammy and Darby Allin. Also, we had Hangman Adam Page and Adam Cole's eventual face-off to be the AEW title. Just get closer and closer to that happening, which will probably be in the next 2 weeks. Also, CM Punk names his stipulation and when his match with MJF is going to happen. And oh boy, is it going to be a big one. But before we get to the show, because there's a lot more that happened, Tuesday was one of the biggest news days in all of 2022. If you would have told me there would have been a bigger news story when Monday Night Raw ended and we went to bed, if you would have told me the next day that a news story would be bigger than Stone Cold Steve Austin possibly coming out of retirement for a match at WrestleMania in his home state, I would have sat there and said, you're crazy. But that's exactly what happened. If you already know by now, and I'm sure everyone has, Cody Rhodes is no longer officially with All Elite Wrestling. Him and his wife are both gone. Honestly, and apparently, Cody is heading back to the world of WWE, which honestly, in my opinion, would be career suicide for him, because why would you go somewhere that made you into a carbon copy of your brother with Stardust? That was the last thing they did there. And it just doesn't make any sense. Now, Cody, of course, has been wanting to do other things outside of professional wrestling. So maybe, just maybe, he might not go back to WWE. Maybe he'll make a one-off appearance at WrestleMania, but after that, he's going to go off to Hollywood and do his Hollywood endeavors and all that stuff. But, am I mad? No. I knew this was coming. I knew Cody Rhodes. I just felt that Cody Rhodes was not coming back to AEW and was not going to finish out the year in 2022. Now, this could be a total work. Tony Schiavone and them decided to spout Cody Rhodes' name every single time they brought up a certain match that Cody was in with a certain other talent that correlates to CM Punk and MJF, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. So, it could very well be a work. It could be the biggest work of all time and make Vince McMahon and his buddies look like idiots. But, honestly, I do not care about Cody Rhodes. I've been saying it for months. I have been saying it for months. This guy was a selfish, self-centered piece of shit. He only cared about himself. He only thought of himself. If you sat out there and you watched the shows and you watched the promos and you've watched how he goes, Cody Rhodes was all about Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes in 2019, 2020, pre-pandemic, during the pandemic stuff, was two totally different guys. Cody tried to help the talent. He wanted to help get this thing off the ground. Put this vision of the wrestling company by professional wrestlers and bring it into fruition. Then something happened. I don't know what that something was, but Cody definitely became a lot more Hollywood. Cody just didn't care about the fans, didn't care about anything. It mostly started, and you really started noticing during that program with Anthony Inogo at the beginning of last year, which was an absolute dumpster fire. The shit that he did to help get Jay Cargill over with Shaq was absolutely a dumpster fire as well. And it just seemed like Cody didn't care about anybody but Cody. The American Dream promo he had on TV was not necessary. I think that promo is what turned everybody against him. Then they had that stupid weigh-in, which was an absolute dumpster fire. And the whole feud with Malachi Black, having Malachi Black beat him twice and then having him get the final win to get that redemptive Rocky type moment for himself, putting Andrade through a flaming table in his hometown to get a fucking moment, winning the TNT Championship on Christmas night, pre-Christmas, but aired on Christmas night for a shitty moment with that would correlate with his father on Christmas night. Just everything in 2021 to me spelled like Cody only cared about Cody. And then two big names came into AEW, Danielson and CM Punk, and Anna to a lesser extent, which CM Punk, not CM Punk, but Cody Rhodes felt like he was on their level. Cody Rhodes will never be on Bryan Danielson's level. Will never be on CM Punk's level. CM Punk and AEW sold out the fucking United Center with no actual promo. Just a hint and a wink and a nod to CM Punk possibly heading to the pay-per-view. To AEW. All the talk, all the rumors, all the Sean Ross Saps and all them saying they know CM Punk is coming. AEW never, ever sat there and said, yeah, CM Punk's coming in, come watch him in the United Center. No. They just put it out there, they're going to be in the United Center, and tickets were on sale, and they sold that out. Cody couldn't sell that on his own. Cody could sit there and say, yeah, I helped sell out a 10,000 seat arena without the WWE branding. But he didn't do it on his own. It was him, the Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and others. It was Ring of Honor and New Japan guys who helped sell that out. Yes, Cody was an integral part. I'm not going to take away any credit for that Cody had in helping build AEW and making AEW happen. But if you were to just, if Cody Rhodes is on his way, like say this is all work and Cody Rhodes is on his way back and AEW tries to do the same thing, a wink and a nod, and yes, Cody Rhodes, and pretty much make it seem like Cody Rhodes is coming back, I just don't think you're going to sell out a big arena like the United Center. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, yeah. Am I mad that Cody's gone? No, I'm actually fucking happy for the talent. I'm happy for the young talent who don't have to put themselves in a position to deal with having to put Cody Rhodes over, or having to be a part of a shitty promo for Cody Rhodes. We don't have to see any of that anymore. Like I said, this could all be a work still. One of the biggest problems with Cody Rhodes in AEW was the nepotism towards his wife. Brandi Rhodes could be a great great backstage person, help out those in the back, help get AEW deals with like the American Heart Association and other things. But she had no business being on television. Now, if they wanted to make her a ring announcer, she could ring announce on Dark and Dark Elevation and possibly the other things. That's fine. But y'all remember the Nightmare Collective? Brandi Rhodes, Mel, where the fuck is she at? Luther, Awesome Kong. How they ruined a women's title match between Riho and Chris Statlander at the beginning of 2020. How much people hated that. How much people got tired of Brandi Rhodes. Was happy that they had a baby. Was also happy that she was gone for months. And then all of a sudden she comes back and we're supposed to give a shit about her. Having women like Kylie King lose to put over somebody like Brandi Rhodes who has no business being on television. No business having a mic in her hand. They tried so desperately to have Dan Lambert. They were so desperate. Dan Lambert's time with AEW was probably supposed to be done at Full Gear. Lose the match to the Inner Circle and move on and go back and be whatever. But they needed somebody that the fans hated so much that they would go and boo instead of Cody and Brandi Rhodes. And that didn't happen. People were cheering Dan Lambert, cheering the Men of the Year, because they did not want to deal with Cody Rhodes and Brandi. Remember when Cody confronted them the first time and the Men of the Year started attacking Cody? Nobody made a sound. The entire crowd was indifferent. They didn't want to cheer Men of the Year. They didn't want to cheer Cody Rhodes. They didn't want to boo the Men of the Year. They didn't want to do anything. Of course, when Dustin came out to join the mob, they cheered Dustin because we all love and respect Dustin because He is like the only man in the Rhodes family who seems to be humbled and happy to be in his own skin, happy to be where he's at, and happy to go out there and help the young talent get where they need to be. But not Cody. Cody, yes, when AEW first started, you had the 4 pillars of AEW at the time. Cody, Kenny, John, and Chris Jericho. Those were your 4 original pillars of AEW. The 4 big names. Of course, the Young Bucks, if you want to throw them in there, it could be 5 and 6. Those are all your pillars to the first year and a half, the first year of AEW. But the further we got to things, and after Cody put over Darby Allin in the end of 2020 at Full Gear, and one of the best story progressions I think they did in 2020, where it was like Cody, Darby can't seem to pick up a win over Cody, and just keeps trying, and Cody gets by the skin of his teeth, and then in the end, all of a sudden, Cody loses and puts Darby over. That was the last time Cody actually really put anybody over. Yes, he put MJF over, but in lieu to get to that, what did he do? He had that stupid fucking moonsault off the cage on the Wardlow to get a moment in Greensboro, in his hometown, because that's who Cody Rhodes is. It's all about the moments. You can't get the moments he wants in AEW because AEW has got it's as Triple H said back in the early 2000s. Evolution will pass you by. The evolution of AEW was passing Cody Rhodes by, and he did everything in his power, everything that he could do to try and hold on to that bit of relevance, be the John Cena of AEW, be the man that's just going to be the clean-cut babyface. He refused to do what the fans wanted, and that was to boo this man and say he sucks and have him be the biggest fucking heel. He refused to do it. He did not want to do it. Do you think that WWE fans are going to be accepting of you? Oh, no, Cody. They're going to boo the hell out of you. What does Vince McMahon get out of all this? He gets that trophy of Cody Rhodes being the first guy, founding father, one of the first founding fathers of AEW to jump ship to WWE. He'll put him out there, he'll display him, he'll get a big match at WrestleMania because that's in the honeymoon phase. But what happens after WrestleMania? What happens to Cody after WrestleMania? Will they have big plans for him after that? Perhaps. Perhaps not. Cody wanted big money. Tony Khan said, I'm not going to pay you that much. Cody thought he was a bigger star than a CM Punk. A bigger star than Bryan Danielson. CM Punk came into the company and on the very first night broke the Pro Wrestling T-Shop website for his one T-shirt. Cody's never done that. Cody wasn't selling merch like CM Punk was selling merch. Hell, Hook was selling more merch than Cody Rhodes. You have Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. You have Proud and Powerful. You have all these young up-and-coming talents. Cody Rhodes was looking like a relic of the past. I know AEW is only a little over 3 years old. But Cody Rhodes was slowly becoming a relic of the first years and wasn't going to be somebody. Like, if he wanted to retire and be an EVP in the back and do stuff back in the back, that's fine. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be the big G's. He wanted to be... I guarantee you Cody Rhodes looked at that stipulation they made back in 2019 on the way to Full Gear and said, if I lose, I will never challenge for the AEW World Championship again. I'm sure he looked at that and was like, man, that was a stupid idea. Because he can never be world champion. He can never be the guy in AEW. I don't know if that was his idea. I think I heard it somewhere that it was his idea. It wasn't Tony's idea. It was his idea. But it just... Cody gone from AEW is a good thing for AEW. Cody Rhodes outwore his welcome. Cody Rhodes just didn't care anymore about AEW. It was all like Cody Rhodes. It wasn't AEW. It wasn't for the brand anymore, for the company. It was for Cody Rhodes. Which, Cody, if you want to be the man in a wrestling company, Go find yourself another financial backer and make yourself a new wrestling promotion. There's enough talent out there that AEW can't all sign, Impact Wrestling can't all sign, MLW, New Japan, MWA. There is enough talent out there. Honestly, if Cody wanted to go make his own company and become the Jeff Jarrett or Triple H of that company, he absolutely could. Would anybody want to watch Cody Rhodes as the champion week in and week out, month in and month out? Maybe dropping in this talent here and there. Maybe dropping in this talent here and there. But no, I don't think anybody would want to watch that show. So where are we at? AEW had a damn good show tonight. Did anybody miss Cody Rhodes? Absolutely not. Cody wasn't on the show last week. Cody wasn't, when was the last time Cody was on TV? Cody was on TV 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Cody had not been seen on TV for 3 weeks. And you know what? We didn't miss him tonight. AEW is in good hands. They don't need Cody Rhodes. WWE needs somebody like a Cody Rhodes who has a little bit of star power to his name to eventually destroy and delete and just make him feel like everybody else. But in the moment, right now, WWE needs somebody who has some kind of name recognition to them, who is still young and can probably go another 5-10 years. Because like I said it before, and I'll say it again, what if Roman Reigns goes down? What if Roman Reigns gets injured? What happens? What happens? Nobody's there to pick up the ball and make the show worth it. Is Cody going to be that guy? Absolutely not. Do I see Cody Rhodes in Stardust by the time this is all said and done? Absolutely. They got, all it's going to be is that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are just frothing at the mouth, waiting for Cody Rhodes to sign on the dotted line, and they'll be like, ha 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 ha. We got him. He can't leave. We're going to make his life miserable. All the shit he talked on us. All the bullshit he came out there and said. We're going to make him pay. First, we're going to make him seem like we actually want him. Like we actually care. But in the end, it's not going to matter because they're going to do what they want to do. And what they want to do is make anybody who comes from AEW feel just like anybody else. And that is what's going to happen to Cody. It's not going to be right away because they got to make it seem like they actually want to do something with him. If he shows up at WrestleMania, which would be very interesting, it's like there's talk about maybe he's going to be stayed till after WrestleMania, which yes is the biggest night of the year for WWE. They always say that, like WrestleMania is the crescendo of 365 plus days, where the night after is the reset button usually. But AEW is going to be just fine. They didn't, like, Cody Rhodes, honestly, was just holding the show, holding the company back. Absolutely was holding the company back. And I do not care to see him go. I don't. He goes to WWE, which, hey, make your money, make your bread, set your family up for the next umpteen years, whatever you need to do. I got no problem with that. If you want to go be a third or fourth wheel cog in the WWE machine, you go right ahead, Cody, because I am not going to be mad at you at all. So that is what we got to say about that. And of course, yes, brandi was a big problem. Nothing else you can say about that. Brandi was a big problem. The whole Dan Lambert, Paige Van Zandt, Brandi Rhodes was supposed to be the babyface, and that just didn't work out for her. She left AEW, which honestly, I don't know why she, for backstage. Honestly, the only reason she was in AEW was her husband, plain and simple. And the reason she left and she wasn't like, you know what, I'm going to stay here because I have more things I can do in AEW, was simple. Because she knows if Cody leaves, she ain't got no leg to stand on. She ain't going to do shit backstage. They ain't going to let her do shit online. She's going to drop to everybody. And she'd be out of the company not too long after. That is what it is. So, again, kudos to Cody. You want to go make your money, you go right ahead. I'm sure Vince McMahon will give you all the money he can to go, hey, look, guys, We got him. We got one of them. We got a trophy, and the trophy is Cody Rhodes jumping ship from AEW to WWE. Will it be the last? Absolutely not. Guys like Wardlow, Jungle Boy, and everyone like Darby Allin, who made their name and their face in AEW, are not going anywhere. MJF can always sit there and tease the bidding war of 2024 with him and WWE. He's not going anywhere. He knows that if he went to WWE, he's not going to be able to do what he does now. He's not going to be able to be what he is now. So that is going to be one of those things that we're going to find and wait to see what's very, very interesting about all of this. So, how will AEW survive without Cody Rhodes? They will be just fine. There ain't nothing that this company is going to be able to do that's going to be able to tell me that they aren't going to be, they're not going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Cody, mazel tov to you. You do what you want. I don't care. Cody is just what he is. He's a selfish, I've said it for months, and I'll say it again. He is a selfish, self-centered piece of shit. Now, everybody's got an ego in this world. If you don't have an ego, you're lying to yourself. You're lying through your teeth. And that's all there is to it. You're lying. Cody had an ego. Cody has a massive ego. Why does Cody have a massive ego? Because, you know, success. Success brings egos. Success breeds ego. Cody has an ego. The Bucks have egos. Kenny Omega have egos. Jericho, Moxley, everybody's got an ego. If you are successful, you have a fucking ego. Don't tell me otherwise, you lying sons of bitches. Cody's ego got in the way. Cody wanted to make sure his wife had her cushy little job, had her chance to be on television. If everything went his way, she'd be AEW Women's World Champion by the end of 2023. If he had his way, she would have been AEW World Champion instead of Hikaru Shida for as long as Shida was. But that's how Cody Rhodes is. That's what they wanted. They wanted to have everything revolve around the Rhodes. Not just Rhodes to the top, which is not coming back, thankfully. That shit was garbage. But yeah, what can we say? There's not, like, I know I'm just going around in circle, but what can you say? Cody Rhodes is gone from AEW. AEW is just going to be that much better without him. But it's time to get to the show. We start the show in immediately. No music, no fanfare, no nothing. CM Punk sitting Indian style in the ring with a box. Closed, of course. He says, if you don't know by now, you should. My name is CM Punk. I'm straight edge, drug free, and alcohol free, and that means I'm better than you. Does that sound familiar? He says it inspires people, some who became straight edge, some who sit like Tim. Then there's MJF, who tries to walk and talk like him, but he can't think like him. He says one thing, says you think he'd be mad about losing to MJF, but he's proud of him. He thinks that he is Brett in Calgary, Piper in Portland, and CM Punk in Chicago. But the fact is, he is shitty little Max from a shitty little place called Long Island. He shouts out Moxley for his assist last week, and now he gets to pick the time, date, stipulation for their match. It will take place Sunday, March the 6th, Orlando, Florida, at Revolution, which leaves us with the match. He says maybe he put him in a cage, but he seems Wardlow. He can probably climb a cage. And Max could still run away. He says he thought about tough matches he's had, and when you lose, you really learn. When you become successful and you do everything right, you win, you don't really learn. Why would you learn from that? Because it's just what it is. So he thought about a match where he left pieces of himself in the ring. He thought about Piper in Portland, and he asked MJF if he was. It's apropos 2 days after Valentine's Day that I don't have a Valentine. Opens the box. Is like, will you, Max, be my Valentine? And pulls out a dog collar with a chain around it. Says in these matches he takes years off your career, so he needs to tell MJF one thing and demands that he comes out here. MJF comes to the stage. He does not look happy one bit. He looks despondent. He looks like he's seen a ghost. MJF's meeting him. he pulls out a picture. This is a very important picture. This was the picture of the night, and we've seen this many times on TV, on internet, and everything. Is the day that CM Punk signed an autograph for young little Maxwell Jacob Friedman and took a picture with him. He says, meeting me that night, that day, was the greatest day of MJF's life, and to let him know that it was a Friday, a Revolution. It was a Friday. A Revolution, it will be the worst day of MJF's life, and for him, it'll just be a Sunday. He promises the mat will be stained with MJF's blood. MJF goes to talk on the microphone. You can just tell that he is not wanting to talk. Drops the mic and walks off. Beautiful fucking booking. This is fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people were on the fence of a rematch between MJF and CM Punk. This is a perfect match to have MJF and CM Punk have. MJF does need to win. This is a way for MJF to get a quote-unquote clean win. And CM Punk doesn't have to be pinned twice by MJF. I see absolutely no problems with this whatsoever. No problems at all. Tony Schiavone's backstage. He reveals at Revolution it will be a three-way for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Next week will be a Battle Royal. Then, the week after will be a Casino Battle Royal for determining the opponents. Which, honestly, do we have to have 2 weeks in a row of Battle Royals? That's stupid. Jungle Boy says he loves three-ways, and fucking Luchasaurus is like, huh? He's like, matches. But he knows one or two things about winning a Battle Royal and puts his hand on Christian Cage's shoulder, which Christian Cage has a little bit of laugh. I'm telling you. The screw job by Christian Cage screwing these guys makes a little bit more sense at a pay-per-view with a three-way, where there's no disqualification. Christian Cage can do whatever he wants to screw the Jurassic Express out of the tag team titles. He says the things, like, there'll be a lot of changing happening over the next few weeks, but one thing will remain the same at the pay-per-view. Jungle Boy and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus will remain the tag team champions. Luchasaurus says, three-way! Ah! And that's that. It's happening. It's happening. It's going to happen. Christian Cage is going to turn on these two and cost them the tag team titles. This is just another tease to that with the, I know a thing or two about winning Battle Royals, and then puts his hand on Christian Cage's shoulder, because last year in a Casino Battle Royal, which I think it was Revolution, or whatever it was, Jungle Boy last eliminated Christian Cage, so you know that's coming. Bryan Danielson versus Ali Moriarty. Danielson wants to shake hands. Lee goes for that. Bryan pulls his hand away. Instead, the two men have some mat-based wrestling, but Bryan, this was a really good match. Honestly. Lee Moriarty is definitely one of those young guys. You got guys like Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Jon Moxley are going to help build and construct the future. Lee Moriarty, you're not going to probably see Lee Moriarty in WWE anytime soon. He's going to be a future pillar of AEW, a future champion of AEW. So a guy like Lee Moriarty is going to be somebody when Bryan Danielson is done with his career and goes back to the WWE to accept his rightful place in the Hall of Fame and do whatever he wants with they want him to do, as in like ambassador work or whatever. You're going to have somebody like a Lee Moriarty be that guy, be one of those guys who will help usher in the AEW for the future. Two men in the trade some shots, with Lee going for several uppercuts before Danielson drops him with just one. Bryan goes for several pinfalls, but Moriarty keeps kicking out. The two men then end up on their heads, locked with their legs, just slapping each other. Bryan then locks up in the label lock, but Lee gets to the rope, barely getting his foot over there. They begin exchanging forearm strikes and uppercuts, but Moriarty then nearly steals a win with a backslide. Danielson kicks out and once again slaps Moriarty. Big open palm, like paintbrush open palm slap. Ow. But this one fires him up. He looks back at him. He's like, "Are you serious, motherfucker?" He continues the fight, launching Danielson across the ring as he fires down with elbows on the back of the neck. Bryan Danielson gets out a submission attempt and then connects with a running knee, the Busaiku knee, whatever they call it. He's like, waves his fingers like, no, we ain't done. grabs both the arms and starts stomping on the face, puts him into the triangle sleeper, and starts flexing because Lee Moriarty is already knocked out and you know he has won. And that is that. Lee Moriarty looked fantastic. Bryan Danielson, however long he is in AEW, which is probably a 3-year deal, I'm pretty sure is what they said. He's going to do his 3 years in AEW. He's going to call it a career, and he's probably going to go get his Hall of Fame induction by WWE, rightfully so. And then we'll see what happens after that. But Danielson grabs the microphone, and he's like, I came out here to teach Lee some violence, and he wants to know if he passed or failed. He says that is why he doesn't trust the American public with anything. He says he asked Moxley to team up with them, and he wants answers now. Moxley, from his usual spot, comes to the ring. Says a decade ago when he was like that kid Moriarty, he like a lot of these kids, he was young, poor, angry, nothing to lose, and he tried to take on the great American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Bryan was late due to the weather, but he turned up already in his gear, and he got into the ring, and the first time they met was right there. John says he gave everything he had, but he came up short. But getting a taste of the best made him meaner and made him want more. Over the years, Moxley had more shots. But each time he came up short, and he says he has never beaten Bryan Danielson. Has he beaten Daniel Bryan? I don't know, but Bryan Danielson he's never beaten. Moxley says when Bryan turned up, everyone was scared, but he was excited to slay one dragon he could never get that head on the mount mounted that he has never been able to mount. But it turns out Bryan doesn't want to fight, he wants to join forces. Moxley heard everything he said, and he admits it could be awesome. They could make a dream team of pure wrestling violence. No matter how hard he tried, Moxley couldn't think of a single good reason to say no. But then he continued to wonder if the only reason Bryan Danielson wants to stand side by side is that he doesn't want to find himself standing across the ring from Jon Moxley. He says Bryan knows he would be due to him what he has done to everyone else for 3 years, and if that's the case, he has already beaten him. If he wants to be partners because of what he could create, or if he doesn't want to be destroyed, he's not saying yes, but he's not saying no. He'll leave it up to Bryan, but he doesn't stand side by side with anybody unless he bleeds with him. Moxley leaves. Bryan Danielson is shocked, but also seems to have a little bit of a smile on his face. Very interesting. The next 2 or so weeks will be very, very interesting for AEW and this feud. There are 2 more episodes left. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Keith Lee is shown backstage saying this is an instance where you don't save the best for last, as he will be the face of the Revolution. Phase 1 is done. The ladder match. Phase 2 is after that, and the TNT title will be his. Wardlow with Shawn Spears versus Max Caster with Anthony Bowens. Face of the Revolution ladder match. The sooner the babyface, the full-on turn of Wardlow, the better. Max Caster came out here, made some raps, and the final line was, "You ain't no man, you're just MJF's bitch boy." And you could see Shawn Spears just having a good old laugh at the fact that he just roasted Wardlow. I can't wait till Shawn Spears just gets absolutely destroyed. Just saying. This match, just like last week, for whatever reason they decided needed to go a lot longer than usual. Of course, it's Max Caster, and I guess you don't want to bury Max Caster. But only thing people want to see Wardlow do is the Powerbomb Symphony and move on. Yes, he needs to wrestle some long matches so we can see what he can do in the ring when push comes to shove, and he needs to wrestle that 5, 10, 15-minute match. Do I ever want to see Wardlow in a 30 or 60-minute match? Absolutely not. But in the end, there was the moment where Shawn Spears actually tried to screw Wardlow out of this match. As Wardlow was going for a powerbomb, Shawn Spears gets on the apron. Max Caster has the chain, nails him with it, throws it away, hits the mic drop. 1, 2, Wardlow kicks out. Caster and kicks Caster into Bowens, who falls off the apron. He connects with the powerbomb. 1, 2, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, and that is that. So, excuse me. After the match, Bowens jumps Wardlow, but Spears doesn't help at all. He's just sitting there like, yeah. Wardlow, and then she powerbombs him a couple times. Spears comes in with the chair and attacks both men, and that was that. So, yeah, Wardlow versus Keith Lee facing off in the Face of the Revolution ladder match is going to be fucking insane, and I hope that crowd just goes absolutely ballistic. Tony Schiavone is backstage with the worst women's champion of all time. Tells Mercedes Martinez not to lose. John Kreese comes in. Martin Cove from Cobra Kai comes in. He tells her she knows what to do if Mercedes loses. Take her out. Finish her. So you better not lose. Hangman Adam Page is brought to the ring by one Tony Schiavone. And tries to reflect on last week, but out comes Adam Cole, who tells Tony Schiavone to get out of his fucking ring. Tells the fans to give Page a warm round of applause. He puts over the match and then tells Tony to get out of the ring. Cole says he has been world champion everywhere he's gone, and it's a shame Page's title reign will have to come to an end at some point. Very soon. Page often wondered how Cole felt watching his friends build an empire without him, and how it looking to be at his former Bullet Club teammate, Ring of Honor roommate, holding the belt he'll never hold. Cole says he hasn't heard the Young Bucks talk about Page in weeks, or the Dark Order. You haven't been associated with them in months. Not since the celebration that he won the title. Page says he isn't perfect, but he doesn't think Cole has the best record of friendships either. The more Cole talks, the more he thinks that Cole is this might be Cole's biggest regret. Cole says Page has been the unbelievable wrestler. He became an unbelievable wrestler and champion. But now he is here. And now that he is here, or anytime they've been in the same promotion, Page has always been referred to as the other Adam. This leads to Hangman putting the title in the other corner, pulling up his sleeves, and he wants to brawl. Cole says he has nothing but love, respect, and admiration for him, and he would be a guy who wants to share the ring with most in AEW, and that would be Hangman Page. And someday, they will fight for that title, man to man. But when that happens, may the best man win. Puts his hand out. Page is like, you serious? Yeah. They shake. And Adam Cole gets out of the ring and walks away. But you notice he has this real smug look on his face, like, oh yeah, his defenses are down. He's in trouble. All of a sudden, the returning Kyle O'Reilly, who just had a baby, congratulations to him and his girlfriend or wife or whatever they are, and Bobby Fish jump the champion, and Cole returns and joins the security. All end up breaking the fight up as Dark Order hit the ring. 10, just pissed as all hell, starts clearing all security as groups stare each other down, and the final guy gets yeeted over the top rope onto the rest of the security guards. And that was that. 10 will take on Adam Cole this coming Friday, apparently. Chris Jericho versus Jake Hager. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz. This is happening because Eddie Kingston got into the head of Pride and Powerful and was like, dude, this guy's the reason you guys don't have tag team gold around your waist. This guy is the reason you're not the world tag team champions. You guys are fighting his battles and you guys feel irrelevant compared to other tag teams. Yeah, so the four men go face to face before anybody wrestles. Eddie Kingston makes his way out, coming back after about a month and a half off due to a fractured orbital bone from his last match at the Dark Tapings a couple of weeks ago. So he's in Santana and Ortiz's corner. Now, after Jake Hager gets to the ring, he's going up against Ortiz, and he's like pushing the guy around. It's like, why? Why, man? We were Bullet Bros. Why would you do this? Oh, boy. The match was good. Santana and Ortiz are fucking fantastic. We had 2 Battle Royals going to be happening for the tag team titles. #1 contenderships. I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, the Pride and Powerful are one of those winners. And the other one could be Red Dragon, or if they want to do it another way, you can have Red Dragon and the Young Bucks both win both Battle Royals, being the #1 contenders, and then Red Dragon somehow wins the tag team titles thanks to Christian Cage screwing Jungle Boy and Santa and the Jurassic Express. Jericho looks for the Judas effect, but misses. Ortiz catches him when he goes up for something, strikes him. Santana nails a discus clothesline. 1, 2, 3. Santana and Ortiz win. Of course, before that happened, Jericho had the Lion Tamer on. Santana got to the ropes. Eddie Kingston gets on the apron. Jericho hits him with a drop kick from the ring ropes. And Jericho, as soon as the bell was rung, jumps out of the ring, which I don't like when you don't sell a finish like that. Gets up immediately, heads out for Eddie Kingston, and just starts fighting this guy. Security and referees get him up in between. And next week, we're going to get a confrontation between Jericho and Eddie Kingston. So we're getting Jericho versus Eddie Kingston at Revolution. Or, if they don't have a TNT title match for Sammy Guevara, we can have Santana Ortiz and Eddie Kingston versus Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, and Chris Jericho. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. The Karen takes place, and the Young Bucks say they've been here and done that when it comes to Hangman and Page, so why beat them up? Beat them up, it's like beating a dead horse. Cole tells the team to start arguing. The Bucks and the Dragon argue about which team will win the Battle Royals. Cole tells them to get on the same page. Both teams end up walking in different directions. And Brandon Cutler, my God, with the timing, he's like, which way you gonna go, Cole? And Cole's like, shut it, Cutler! Turn off the camera. I laughed on that one. That was pretty good. Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez, no DQ match. I don't care. Until those, like I said, until the titles are on actual women who actually can make these titles mean something, it's an irrelevant division. Thunder Rosa wins. She dressed as Kill Bill. Good on her. Loves her cosplay, I see. After the match, of course, the champion shows up. She was told by her mentor that I told you she was weak. Finish her. So they beat up Thunder Rosa, they beat up Mercedes Martinez, everybody's left laying. Obviously, Thunder Rosa, it's going to probably be Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez versus Jamie Hayter and Faker on the go-home show, and then at the pay-per-view, it's going to be Thunder Rosa finally winning the AEW Women's World Championship, bringing some prestige back to that championship that has been missing for almost 300 and some days. Video package shows the House of Black with Malachi. Violence. Brody asks, who are they waiting for? And someone knocks at the door. Black says history. Buddy Matthews is coming to All Elite Wrestling. And Buddy Matthews will be the third member of the House of Black. What happens with Julia Hart? Do not know. But this is what's going to happen. And it's going to be wonderful. Jay White is shown saying everyone is talking about him, and if Kenny Omega would have stayed in New Japan, there'd be no AEW. He says it's still his era, as he is going to beat the brakes off of Trent this coming Friday in 2 nights' time. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. It should be a good match. Now remember, AEW will be having their show Rampage on at 7, leading to the NBA All-Star Friday night. Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin TNT main event. These two, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know. Did they go to the back and before they come out and be like, I'm gonna do this better than you? I'm like, did they try to one up each other? Because these two went out there and literally looked like they were. I don't know why that happened, but okay. But trying to, one up each other, move after move, these two are fucking insane. Only thing I'm surprised is nobody landed on their fucking neck with how many moves they were trying to do. It was fucked up. Guevara goes for a moonsault, misses, but lands in his feet and jams his knee. Comes with the chop to Darby and then launches him hard across the ring into the turnbuckles. Repeatedly, he goes again, but Allin reverses, sending Sammy into the turnbuckle head first. He follows up with a coffin splash and chop blocks the knees and forces as he focuses his attack on that area. Allin hangs up Sammy on the top rope by his injured knee, janking him down on the area. Then goes for a single leg crab, but Guevara hits a headbutt and then a Spanish fly. But Darby kicks out. Sammy then bounces off the ropes, but Darby reads it and brings him back and down into a figure 4 submission. They then reverse it back and forth, but with two men and slapping each other until they break the hold. Guevara changes with his knee strike, but he misses and smashes his head into the top turnbuckle. Champion looks for the GTH, but Allin reverses a pinning attempt by Sammy and kicks out. Only to eat a stunner. Allin then dives through a bottom ropes and eats an amazing cutter upon impact. Sammy sets up Darby in the ring on the apron and goes for a senton, but Challenger moves and he crashes and burns. That looked like that fucking hurt. Sammy, you were young. Why are you doing moves and doing spots that are going to cripple you when you're older. I know it's YOLO, you only live once, all that jargon and everything, but my God, Sammy, calm the fuck down. I mean, in the ladder match, he did a senton on top of Kodi that ended up was on top of a ladder. Now he goes for a senton off the ring onto the ring apron, but Darby moves, so he's hitting straight ring apron. If Sammy Guevara in 5 years or so doesn't have spinal stenosis, I don't know what to tell you. If he doesn't have a screwed up back, I don't know what to tell you. This dude is just brutalizing himself every single time he goes out there. These two, I swear, are trying to kill each other. Well, the match is coming to a close. Sammy Guevara, Jose shows up. Sting gets distracted as he takes him away. Sammy Guevara is down. Darby's going to go for the coffin drop. Andrade takes a tablet, smacks him over the head. Sammy's down. Sammy has no idea what the fuck is going on. Fans are booing. Fans are not happy. Sammy hits the GTH. 1, 2, 3. Sammy retains the championship. And that was that. After the match, Matt Hardy comes running down and beats up on Darby Allin. Sammy Guevara comes back in. He chases him off. Andrade comes back in, hits him on the back with the tablet, grabs the TNT titles, and holds them up. Sting chases him off, and that's how the show goes off the air. Revolution is looking to be a can't-miss show. We're going to have a new women's champion, hopefully. Adam Cole versus Adam Page, the dog collar match. Jericho versus Kingston, or a 6-man tag, depending on what's going on with Sammy and them. So much going on. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the last 2 weeks before we get to Revolution. We got 2 more shows. And then we have ourselves a can't-miss show. So, is AEW going to suffer without Cody? Absolutely not. They have enough veteran talent back there to build this company up for the future. They have enough talent on there that have names to themselves. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara just put on a banger of a main event that Cody only wishes he could do on a weekly basis. And Cody goes to WWE, good on him. If he doesn't, I don't know, don't care. Just don't come back to AEW because they don't need you. That is your AEW on TNT review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I'll see you guys on Friday for Rampage and SmackDown. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.